In contradiction to my previous message, yeah, maybe I'll make more videos because this is all I can do. I mean, there's just, I can't even describe how not capable of doing anything I am. I mean, I have no physical, nothing, I can sit up apparently, and I can talk, but everything else is really difficult. So anyway, Lyme disease. My temperature's going up, which is bad, but I found some old amoxicillin, so I think I'll take that tonight, and maybe that'll give me enough of a boost to get me to the Monday. Anyway, Professor Anton. Yeah, I wanted to do him this morning, but I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So I'll play a part of it, but it's sort of an interesting conversation. So we're on this word meaning again, and again we can dissect this word or try and transect this word or whatever to apply it to some kind of idea of understanding of productivity. Things have meaning that are creating positive value. You could almost argue. Positive, negative meaning. That means they're part of the value equation that you set up in life. So if I said that here's a real world example. So let's say there's going to be nuclear power, and the people in this conversation, this little group of people, whatever, 10 people, Piero and Professor Anton, and to be serious, whatever, we just pick 10 of you, and say, what's your decision? I'll give you a statistical risk number of a minor catastrophe versus total catastrophe for a nuclear power plant that we're going to build. And then you tell me, is the risk acceptable? How high do I have to make the numbers? How many people have to be potentially irradiated? And how probable does their irradiation have to be before you say, no, don't do that. It's not right. It's not fair. Okay, to impose that harm, to put it in their backyard, to fuck their life for your life. Especially now we can add context, because we could argue that the energy produced by this nuclear power plant would only be 1% of the amount of energy we waste every year. Just waste, by just stupid waste, like lights on, this kind of stuff. So so understand it in that context, that because we're too lazy to turn off some lights, to turn off appliances, to regulate the appliances, to turn them down, turn the air conditioner down maybe a couple of degrees, up a couple of degrees, because we can't do that. We'll put people at risk of being irradiated. Now in that context it becomes even more disgusting and insidious and bizarre and silly that we'd even debate this subject. Why should we gain at somebody else's clear jeopardy? So that's the context of talking about this word meaning. It's not about what you feel about your life. Again, if you want to talk about psychology, label the videos psychology videos, please. Please find some way to say, look, I'm just talking about how to make yourself feel better about your existence. I'm not talking about reality, because there's a huge difference between making your psychology think it's something and what the reality of your existence is. And the truth is that placating psychology is just a shortcut. It's just cheating. Because the fact is, the philosophy, the hard reality, is going to make it clear that if you want to be productive, you actually have to do work. You actually have to turn your lights off. You have to do all these things you don't want to do. All these inconveniences have to become part of your reality. You have to take care of business here. You have to stop eating meat or some other thing. You don't want to sacrifice any of your comforts for something else's welfare, and it's clear. And that ought to be what we glean out of this conversation. Is it clear you're just looking for rationalizations to make human beings not have to deal with the reality of their failure and the difficulty of living a good life. Living a good life is damn hard. And everybody's talking like it's damn easy. No, it's damn hard. It's not just about not robbing banks and not raping women. It's a lot more difficult than that. So anyway, And I think Professor Anton gets a lot of this, to tell you the truth. I think he looks at the human race and he's revolted. I think he knows that it has caught itself up in a bunch of disgusting rituals. And then I think he can know, I don't think he wants to admit it, but that yeah, these are all artifacts of a monkey nature. A crude nature that is an ego-driven alpha animal that needs to do this superiority dance bullshit, that needs to do this ego gratification crap. And we haven't done anything hardly at all to moderate that function. And in a sense we celebrate it all the time. And sports, he brings up sports here, and that's the part I'll play, and it's just a perfect example of just grotesque waste. It has no meaning in any valid sense, in that there's just no efficiency in it whatsoever. It's a fake meaning. If you're getting meaning out of it, it's like you getting off on killing Jews. I mean, it's like you getting off on breaking shit. It's like you getting off on burning cars in the street. You're just being a waster of resources in preposterous and numbers and amounts. And that's all. There's nothing else happening there. For silly, you know, because you somehow can't get motivated to give a damn about something real. You know, I mean, that's the only difference here, right? I mean, why shouldn't there be a competition to cure cancer and have 50,000 people in the stands cheering the two sides on? I mean, why wouldn't that make about 10 million times more sense as a competition? Not some stupid competition about who's got the biggest biceps. No, but a competition about who can get there first and give them a big giant prize for doing it. Nobody dies, nobody gets injured, nobody gets hurt. Everybody wins. But instead of something sensible like that, the human race, you know, puts its finger in its anus and sticks it in his nose.
And they tell how today's game is going to fit into the upcoming season and maybe establish them at a certain level. There's this whole historical backdrop for athletic sport, you know.
Yeah, well, it's just more of evidence of the complete ego alpha crap, right? They have an alpha list. Who was the greatest elephant seal in history? Right? That's all this is. We could do that, right? We could find what was the biggest, fattest, smelliest elephant seal in history. You know, we could build a little monument to it. Jumbo the elephant, right? We could do this shit. That's what human beings do. They're just, you know, that's their nature. And a tiny refinement in those sensibilities gets you to ballet. I mean, as funny as that is, but yeah, you go to something far more enriching with just a tiny migration. And I'm not saying ballet has any real use, but I mean the storytelling, you know, it is philosophically enriching in a way. It is character enriching. But that's not even a good example. I'm just saying there's more elegant things that we can be doing with our motivation than wasting it on a game you don't win, where there's more losers than winners. Why would we invest in a game that has more losers than winners?
Athletic events.
It's like our democracy even. It's so broken. Why shouldn't everybody have a representative in Congress? Everybody should win congressional elections. They should vote for a guy. He becomes their representative. He has their name. He knows who voted for him. And yeah, that's the way it should work. It should be all affirmative votes that get you into Congress. You shouldn't be able to steal my representation. Why steal my representation? There doesn't have to be losers in the Congress. You know, your representatives. Why should I lose an election for representative? It's not that difficult to figure out. Oh, we want to represent people, so let's have the representatives represent the people. Not half the people. No, all the people. It's a tiny little fix. The game is a hugely more elegant game. Tiny fix. Hugely, huge, gigantic change in the quality of the game. And the human race is deaf and dumb and blind because it's so fucking glued to its traditions. It is so myopic and stupid. And frankly, preachers like you, voodoo doctors, witch doctors like you, placating, you know, rubbing the balls of that bullshit is part of the problem. Intellectuals have to start looking down at the morons and telling them they're morons. that they're not seeing anything. They're not getting the big picture at all. They're not playing the right game. Right? They're playing football on a soccer field, or golf on a soccer field.
There's also lots of stories. When you watch sports, there's lots of stories of how much suffering and hardship has been endured by the physically by the players for the game. And people,
yeah, but they really don't make a list, do they? They don't make a list of all the guys whose careers were ruined. I mean, absolutely, like Bo Jackson type stories, right? The only ones we hear about are when the alpha player goes down. But all the minor league players, all the other guys who get whapped in the head with the ball, can't even walk down the street straight again. There's no list of that. There's no stories. They're just forgotten refuse. They're thrown away.
Would celebrate watching players not in a senseless brutality or a stupid suffering, but in a willing...
Yeah, see, this is the part where you're... What is that? What do you mean it's not a stupid suffering? Boxing isn't a stupid suffering. It's a stupid suffering. Kickboxing, full metal jacket boxing, whatever the fuck they're doing now. You're not going to tell me this isn't a goddamn sport for absolute fucking morons? Come on, this hero worship is just so tired. It's so unsmart. Smell it for what it is. It's just grotesque egotism.
To try
Glory
to
hunting.
achieve something very difficult. They're willing to
yeah, something very useless. Okay? The fact that it's difficult doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, when Kennedy said, we're going to the moon, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. That makes a hell of a lot more sense than because it's going to the moon, okay? That has some value. We're going to learn a hell of a lot by doing this. We're going to learn all kinds of crap about how space works and how you navigate in space and how you make capsules and tang and all that kind of crap. And it's going to be a real learning experiment. And it's going to create all kinds of technology and has all kinds of benefits. So it's all fucking goddamn win. Alright? But some asshole kicking a goddamn ball the furthest is bullshit. You should be able to say that. Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck with a brain should care is the question. What asshole with a goddamn intelligence should give a motherfucking rat's ass? Okay? Who can throw a goddamn ball in a hoop? The best.
sacrifice their body for a great athletic accomplishment or some rare achievement, and when they do so, it creates a kind of horizon of meaning. Now,
yeah, it creates a fucking glorified ego, and what happens most cases? It's never enough. We see the crash and burn that always takes place. Most of these heroes crash and burn. O.J. Simpson syndrome. All right, it's not good, and they got it all, and they want more. They want everything. They want the whole world to be their peasant.
you don't have to agree with it, but I think to say that there's no meaning being accomplished by that, I think people are just denying it.
Yeah, well, sorry. I don't think you believe this, to tell you the truth. I really don't think that you think these stupid activities, these traditional activities, that's all they are, they're rituals, ritualistic activities, have done anything but drain huge volumes of resources out of human productivity. Just preposterous waste of fucking labor and time. Gigantic. We could be so much better, so much further along if people didn't waste their time on this goddamn... This isn't even potato chips. This is frosted frosting chips. Frosted frosting. This is the ultimate sugar pill. And you're sitting there attempting to glorify it, to give it substance and character. It has none. It's vanity, it's crap, it's glory hunting. It has nothing to do with a single emotion of integrity, or emotion of decency, or emotion of honor, or emotion of anything graceful or beautiful, because it's just vanity. And it's clear in the emptiness of the product. The product is so fucking empty. It's disgusting.
It would be very hard to explain why all this is going on. Okay, so you have this there are goals, they're set in larger contexts. Now, who actually is, I guess, being, for whom is the meaning being established? See, this.
Okay, so this is where, like I said, we part company, and this, the conversation has to change, because yes, there's some people talking in the philosophical realm about the big picture, the whole game, and you're talking about drama between two pawns. All right, I mean, we're talking about in the whole game context. What's the net effect, okay, on the quality of existences? So just take all the existing things, all the consciousness, and just add up. Is this thing a cloud on them? Is this thing a black blight that spreads over them? Or is this something that enhances all of them? Does it make them more powerful and more actualized? Does it make them, does it take away more of their suffering, net? Or does it make them more miserable, more incompetent, more incapable, more ineffective, and more inefficient? Does it make them more productive? Does it give them more choices? These are the questions to answer, and the philosophical answer is this crap, this pop culture crap, is toxic waste. It might as well be barrels of dioxin. It is a fucking catastrophe for the human race that American Idol and Survivor, and we can go down the line, all these fucking reality shows and all this fucking nonsense that they're fucking addicted to. You see it even on YouTube, and you have complained about it on YouTube. You know how hard it is to maintain anything called a rational conversation in this medium, because everybody's just thinking cute kitty fart fart.
This is why it's so important to see these larger collectives as representatives, or as people to whom the meaning can be, I guess, attributed, or it can be accomplished and then done on their behalf. And so, for example, when sports teams play,
see, again, we're back to this old argument I've made millions of times. But when you're intelligent, you realize I'm just a pawn. I'm not special pawn. I'm just pawn, and all the other pawns are just as valuable as I am in basic function. They're all feeling entities. Yes, some might not have the skills I have. Some might not be capable of doing this or that I have capability to do. But the vice versa is also true. But there's no reason for my intelligence to work for the benefit of this one pawn. There's no rational reason for my intelligence to make a distinction between the welfare of this pawn and the welfare of the pawn next to the nuclear power plant. There's no reason to make a distinction. I should think of that pawn as me. I should understand it as me. I should understand everything that is manipulated and perverted and distorted and abused as me. Because there's nothing different about the thing having the circumstance. And why would my brain make a distinction? Are you saying intelligence is bigoted? I'm saying intelligence obviously isn't bigoted. What is bigoted is the monkey. And we have to grow up and stop being monkeys.
the individual players not only wear the colors of their team and they wear uniforms, but the fans may wear the same colors, and they may engage in a larger sort of escalating hierarchies of
beer drinking and fat food eating and shit talking and pretty much child abusing, right? Let's get the kid caught up in this crap. Let's get him hooked to the fucking soap opera we're watching. And that's all it is. This is, the average macho male in the stands rooting for his team isn't any better than the housewife, turning on Way of the World or whatever the fuck it is. The Way the World Turns or whatever, General Hospital or whatever the fucking little drama story is. Those two addicts are of no distinction, and they're no different than the fat ass sitting there pulling the one-armed bandit with the welfare money. They're all in the same category of asshole.
Collectives. So just take, for example, if it's like the Olympics, they may it's not just an athlete's performance, it's that performance of an athlete, and they're performing on behalf of their country. Or
Yeah, like that makes it even more insidiously awful. So you've spoken against nationalism and racism and isms, and here you're just basically defending the ismness. So what do I make of that? Sorry, my brain just moved in a bad way.
when you take a sports team in the U.S., they'll perform for their city, but then ultimately they play for their country. That's why the national anthem comes out at the beginning, and then the
Yeah, well, can't you just call all that really disgusting? I mean, so revolting. It just, oh man, that really does make me ill. Thinking that this is what people are doing. It's disgusting to nationalize this stuff, to invest your identity in some sort of physical stupid contest that's so fucking arbitrary. I mean, what if it's a female event and your top woman just got her period or something? I mean, arbitrary bullshit is going to decide who wins. The guy stubbed his toe on the way to the field. That's the difference between winning the gold medal and losing the gold medal. Well, why would we get wrapped up in a contest this stupid? First, it's a stupid physical contest, but second, it's a stupid physical contest that doesn't even have any purity to it. Because the most arbitrary of circumstances is going to decide the winner.
It's each time the larger the collective that you're playing for. There's a difference between playing local ball, regional ball, national ball, and then sort of international, right? By the time you get up these international levels, they seem to be more meaningful, more significant. And then,
well, they seem to be, that's right, because the skill level is higher, duh, so that seems to add up. But why don't you just get to the point? What is the game about? Is the game producing anything that the human race should be proud of? Is there anything for a non-nation to be proud of? A non-ego-driven, psychotic ego. Is there anything for something other than a psychotic ego to see as valuable produced by this stupid ritual? Does this stupid ritual produce anything that something with a preposterous, nationalistic, racist, or some other ego could find valuable? And the obvious answer is no. It's completely useless behavior, and we should convert it into useful behavior if we just exercised a tiny bit of rationality. Just a little tiny bit of rationality can make this quite obvious to you.
and I guess the most obvious one would be this interplay of opposites, that a meaningful game is a tight game, it's a close game, it's a game where it could go either way.
Yeah, that's not always true either. Some of the greatest games are the guy who blew them all away. Tiger Woods wins by 10 shots. Babe Ruth hits 5 home runs. Sometimes it's the preposterous wipe the fucking floor with the bastards. Okay, that's just as big a deal. So it's just about drama again. So don't confuse it like there's some integrity difference in these contests. It's just about drama. It's a soap opera.
It's when one team does a really great job and then the other team comes right back and you're not sure who's going to win. It really intensifies the meaning to it. Now,
yeah, it intensifies the feeding of the drama, and that's it again. So you're just defending drama whoring. Why are you doing that? Why are you defending as some kind of stoic integrity act drama whoring?
I guess maybe I'll end with one last example, which is I think Christianity has largely harnessed these structural elements into the dominant mythology of Christianity, right?
No, Christianity hasn't done a damn thing but point its gun at everybody's face and say, believe or I'll kill you. That's the only way it gained its popularity. It fucking warred with the world, took over everything, forced everybody to be a Christian, or we'll burn you at a stake, or throw you in the pond, or in some other way kill you. They never earned it. They never won an argument in their life. It's just a traditional, evil totem pole religion, and that's it. They just walk around with their fucking totem pole saying, we're God, we're king, we're the greatest. And that's all they're doing, that they're just carrying their flag of Jeebus, saying we win, and they win without any integrity. There's nothing else going on there. They've cheated throughout history.
I've written extensively about this. Go check out a piece that I did many, many years ago called In the Becoming. See if I can find a link to it and post it to it. But it was like my master's thesis. And, I mean, this was, early 90s. And, if you take something like Christ dying on the cross, I'll just use that as an example.
Yeah, and it's a terrible example, because I could just sit there and point to a kid in a cancer ward, St. Jude's, some 8-year-old girl. She's been through 4 bone marrow transplants, right? Got brain tumor, got scars all over her fucking head. What's Jesus got on her? How's Jesus the bigger man than she is? How's Jesus the man in comparison to that? Jesus was a fucking pussy by comparison. A fucking pussy. I mean, here, Jesus, don't forget, Jesus, for the sake of some oil on his fucking feet, basically sentenced the poor to be with you always. That's the lame ass that Jesus was. So don't be bringing up Jesus as some heroic figure. He's heroic as a lie. Right? Because the average person dying right the fuck now is probably going through more horror than Jeebus did.
Right. If you take Christ dying on the cross, well, what's going on here? Here is some person, and this is a story and it's a mythological image that draws upon all 5 of these meaning-constructing tensions to create an ultimately meaningful story. I mean, the argument would be that it partly resonates with people. And
well, look, why don't we make Steve Jobs Jesus, okay? I mean, here he fought fucking pancreatic cancer for whatever, 5 years. Alright, just fought and fought and fought, and all the shit he must have gone through to do that. Alright, so we're going to make somebody Jesus? Oh, let's make Steve Jobs Jesus, because it's just about how much you suffer now. That's the definition of Jeebus. Let's fuck the stupid philosophy, but the Christians don't even understand. They never even read the fucking Bible. I mean, Jesus was basically a naturalist. He was basically telling everybody, fuck all civilization, just go back to being a fucking bird. Okay, because God takes care of all the animals, he'll take care of you. So let's go back to being minkies, okay, and everything will be just fine. I mean, that's the man's philosophy, and these fucking Christians have no fucking clue.
Create such horizons of meaning because it takes all 5 dimensions.
So again, horizons of meaning out of preposterous misinterpretations, preposterous perversions of the thing they say has meaning. They have perverted what Jesus is. They've perverted the context of his suffering. They've perverted the philosophy entirely. And again, all I have to do is point to one kid in the chemo ward, and I've got Jesus beat in terms of the suffering index. He's a pussy.
At its fullest extreme. So, what do you have? You have some person who is sacrificing himself. I mean,
again, sacrificing himself at 41 years old, which was basically an old man back then. So yeah, sacrificing what? Dying of a horrible, like leprosy, right? Leprosy existed back then, right? People died of leprosy, you fuck. Just think about the lepers. Just think about dying of leprosy, right? 3 years of watching your body just bleed out, infections all over the place. Just absolutely stenchy horror. And you're going to talk to me about Jesus' sacrifice? What did he sacrifice? He lived a privileged life as king of the Jews, or whatever the hell he was. And, telling other people, well, give up everything you own, give up all your stuff, we're going to go out and help and save the world. Except for the poor, who were basically going to say, fuck them. Yeah. They'll be with you always. I don't have any time to fix that problem. And I'll die on the cross to save you from your sins. Except that bitch Eve, I'm never forgiving that fucking cunt whore. I mean, really, what did he save? What did he save? He saved nothing. So how can you make an argument that these people have some meaning in this bullshit when they have no understanding of their own fucking religion? They have no, they're looking at the totem pole and they're looking at the goddamn eagle and they're saying, pigeon. They have no fucking clue about their own fucking goddamn meaningful totem pole. And you're calling that real meaning. I call that a lie. I call that humiliating.
Literally being tortured, demeaned, humiliated, and then crucified. So fully.
And the leper, right? Not necessarily got this horrible disease, and everybody's throwing rocks at them. They have to eat garbage. They have to sneak into town at night to go find some garbage to eat. And you're going to tell me about how bad Jesus had it? Fuck Jesus.
Embracing suffering. But it's not just suffering for suffering's sake. It's suffering to save all of humanity. Arguably, goes all the way back to Adam and Eve.
Arguably, it's just the most preposterous pile of phantasmagorical, silly bibble-babble mish-mush crap ever invented. It's a sillier story than Bugs Bunny farted the universe. It really is that silly. I mean, please. Well, where's the evidence of the miraculous, of the saving? Where is the saving? He didn't do much for his chosen people when they were in trouble. What the fuck did he do? He just let 6 million of them get squished.
And goes back to the original sin of the very first people, and it goes all the way back to and it will reach forward all the way to the end of the world. And it's this, again, this narrative that reaches all the way to the past.
No, it's not a narrative. You call it what it is. It's a preposterous lie. It's a preposterous figment of their lying imagination. It's made up crap.
It's all the way into the future, and it's an interplay of ultimate oppositions between eternal salvation and eternal damnation, with a suffering, again, done on behalf of all of humanity.
Again, it has nothing to do with reality. It's a humiliation to our intelligence. We all should be goddamn embarrassed to be human, because this is what humans do with their brain. It's disgusting and perverse. Ew, gross.
Humanity. The more that people could try to look for those 5 horizons, I think they would see that there is not an objective source of meaning. I think it's socially and culturally articulated. But
yeah, whatever. That's just such crap. Okay? Culture is shit. Social, pop culture, that's what social is. Crap. This is all crap. These aren't the icons. Logic, rationality, facts, science. This is where you'll find the truth. This is where you will discover the real narrative that you're playing in, the real game that you're playing, and this is where you will understand that you're a fucking psychology, that you don't make up the truth, you discover the truth. Yeah. You don't have the privilege of making it up.
To be modern and to be Western is to at least see these 5 dimensions as...
You don't have an honorable privilege, let's put it that way. There's no honor in making it up.
You know, these are possibilities that can be harnessed. You can see it in workplace design. You can see it in educational settings. To people who want to build meaning, there are ways to do it.
Yeah, that's right. So let's just make the formula. The formula Soylent Green cracker. Let's just put the right ingredients in to placate the animal, so it has, so it just keep, Borgishly borging along. And let's not demand anything better than that from the human race. Well, I'm going to do it. I'm demanding better, or I'm going to call the human race shit. And so until the human race does better, it's a fucking asshole. And I'm going to call it an asshole. Fuck you, asshole. Yeah.